All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our show. We are Movement Mortgage Live, and we're coming to you from Reno, Nevada. I'm one of your hosts, John Nichols.
And I am Jennifer Nichols. Thank you everyone for logging on today. And we are really excited to have you and our guests.
That's right. So the idea of our show is to bring you up-to-date mortgage news and tips every third Wednesday of the month right here at 2 p.m.
Plus, showcase incredible business owners and upcoming businesses locally, nationally, and internationally.
That's right. We also want you to become part of the show, so feel free to comment in whatever medium that you happen to be watching us from. If you have questions for us or any of our guests, we would love to be able to answer them when we get back together at the end of the show with our roundtable.
That's right, big brother. Not only will we answer your mortgage-related questions, but you can also ask our special guests questions relating to their businesses and as well.
That's right. And if you find this interesting, we'd also like to ask you to share this and live stream it with your friends and family and colleagues as well, or anyone you think might benefit from the show.
And also make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook page, and Instagram. That way, you'll get alerts when we are on in the future, and you won't want to miss those shows either.
That's right. So today we have two amazing guests on the show. We have restaurateur, celebrity chef, business guru, and rock and roller Mark Esty.
And coming up a little bit later on the show, we have female powerhouse Wonder Woman Shari Pheasant.
That's right. So, Jennifer, what's been going on in mortgage world lately?
Oh, what hasn't been going on in the mortgage world lately? You know, every day is just a new day for us, as you can relate to that. And we're seeing rates are holding steady. We had a little bit of an increase last week when it came to some Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae guidelines. All of us in the mortgage world and real estate world understand that a little bit better. But basically, rates went up a little bit on our refi business.
That's right. And actually, for those of you who already subscribed to our Facebook page, we definitely would love for you to maybe check out that the form there and go ahead and submit it into our senators. What we're asking is for that 50 basis points that Fannie and Freddie added to all refinance transactions to be removed. It just doesn't make sense, and at the end of the day, it's really affecting our borrowers like you who are trying to refinance their homes by increasing the rates to that 50 basis points. Jennifer, though, refi is still booming, though?
Still absolutely booming. We're still seeing better than ever rates. They're just not as great as they were a couple of weeks ago. So make sure that you reach out to us. Even if you think you have a great rate, give us the opportunity to see if we can help save you some money or maybe take out some cash so you can do some home improvements.
That's right. One of the really cool features that we offer at Movement Mortgage is an extended rate lock. So if you are concerned about rates going up, but maybe you're looking at purchasing a new build, a new construction home, definitely reach out to us. We have rates that we can lock up to 12 months. So we definitely would love the opportunity to discuss that as well. But with that, we will go ahead and get started with the show. So ladies and gentlemen, we want to first welcome our very first special guest of the show, Mark Esty. Come on up, Mark.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Well,
Crazy
Mark,
times.
it's an honor to have you on the show, and I gotta say, when I am out with just my girlfriends or even my real estate agents, your restaurants are my favorite to frequent, so I give you a lot of money.
We appreciate that. We'll keep cooking that.
Right? Please do.
Absolutely.
So to start off today, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your history as a chef and restaurateur?
So I got into this about 1991. Back before being a chef was cool. Right now, everyone wants to be a chef. Everyone loves their food. Everyone loves where the Rock and Roll Food Network stars and all these different crazy people out there. It's awesome. When I started, everyone said, "Are you crazy? What are you doing trying to get into this business?" And I played football in high school. I played football in college, but I really wanted to be a chef. My dad said, "You're nuts. Like, you got to just go get a regular 4-year degree. Who needs a trade school? That's not how you do business these days," and so on and so forth. So I spent 3 years in regular college. One day I walked home and said, "I quit. I'm going to culinary school." And I jumped in Johnson & Wales, graduated in 1993, and went to work for the Hyatt right out of culinary school.
Okay.
And then I spent 3 years at the Hyatt in Cambridge, moved out to Lake Tahoe in January of 1996. So I took over the Lone Eagle Grill when I first came out. So I would have been about 25 years old. So coming up on 25 years ago. I'll be 50 this year. So Lake Tahoe, Hyatt, La Haunted Golf, a little bit of time in San Francisco, La Haunted Golf Club. Moody's in Truckee was the first restaurant I ever owned and opened. That was 2002. Wow. Burger Me since sold. We had Baxter's for a while. I came down to the Campo downtown, sold that. We had Provisions, we had Heritage. Right now we have Liberty Food and Wine Exchange. Chez Louis, which is we're rebranding right now. That's at the Nevada Museum of Art. We have our catering company. We have our meat production company called Liberty Artisan Meats. And then we have the Overland in Gardnerville, Cucina Lupo, and the Union, both in downtown Carson City. And I still have Campo at Mammoth, which we just kind of do a little management agreement on. So staying busy.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you mentioned that it was kind of before the norm of everyone wanting to be a chef. So why did you want to be a chef? Was it the freedom, the creativeness?
No, I have to say I always liken things back to sports. So being a football player, I was a quarterback in high school. Even though I look like a left tackle now, but back then I was I used to just kind of like to lead the team, and a lot of teamwork, a lot of the highs and lows. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. So getting into a kitchen society back in the day. This is before it was kind of. We can't really act the way we used to act before, which is a good thing. We don't get beat up anymore. We don't yell. We don't scream. We don't throw knives. Although those things did happen to me. We don't really behave like that anymore. So it was an interesting kind of transition to that fun part of the creativity every day, the hard work ethic that goes into it. A lot of it is about the preparation, and you think oh, it looks so fun to cook a meal or cook a banquet. It is, but really it's all about the days leading up to it, all the prep, all the math that I never paid attention to, all the different business that I should have paid attention to, and then you that final product is actually putting out that dish or putting out that food or putting out that banquet. So I've been really blessed and lucky. I've worked with some amazing people. I've had some amazing leaders in my time.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. You mentioned earlier too that it's cool to be a chef now, especially all those Food Network stars. But word on the street is you're about to join those Food Network stars. We have a show that we started this about 2.5 years ago with Cake House Media out of Brooklyn in New Jersey, Buddy Velastro's company, and these guys found me on a tape that I had floating around in the ether, in the internet, and they said, hey, we really want to do an event with you. We really want to do a show with you. We have this idea. We pitched to the network. So we did a pilot. We did a proof of concept. Then we did a pilot. And they aired the pilot. And we made about 7 more shows. And the network has 4 of them right now. They put one out. And then we got a call a couple days later. And they said, hey, we want to find a different time slot. We just want to move it around a little bit. So I don't know if I'm getting dumped or if there's bigger things ahead. But what I said is I said, before the show, I went to work. I woke up, put my shoe pants on, went to work, and then the day I had the show, I put my pants on, went to work, and the day when they said they were changing it, I put my pants on and went to work. So the idea being really not going to change me at all. I think one of the misconceptions about restaurant owners, and I think any restaurant owner watching it, maybe different than the mortgage business, but we're all sitting in our turrets in our house just counting money in our mansions. That's not how it works in my book. That's not how it happens to us. And if anyone else out there doing that, God bless them. Good for them.
Chef Ramsay traveling.
Yes. There's only a few of those guys out there. So. But the TV experience was really fun. Our idea was that it was going to drive some business to our restaurants. It's going to drive some notoriety for Reno. I bet on some other competition shows and done pretty well, and I've had a lot of fun with it. And really, the whole idea for me is to get people excited about food, where the food comes from, right? Ask the right questions, really promote and bring great people to this business. Really show now you can have balance, you can have family. There's a lot of different opportunities than it used to be when I started.
What type of production schedule are you going to have? Are we going to still have you in Reno a lot of the time?
Oh yeah, Reno's home. Even though I might move down to Gardnerville, Minden, that's where I'm going to. Between this area, this is where I'm going to be for sure. The one thing I can never let it take away from is I'm not interested. I'm going to be 50. I'm not interested. I've already worked my butt off for 25 years. I'm not really interested in getting on the road and going on a production schedule. I don't care about being fit, quote unquote, famous. I just want to have a good life, have my restaurant. I have a phenomenal girlfriend. I have kids. She has kids. Everyone's together. It's a really great time. And it's I don't want to be traveling doing a bunch of Yahoo stuff. So if I can make a show that I love, that I feel good about, and that's the show that came out. Even though it's undercover, it was something that it's people say, hey man, you were just being you. And that's the part that I wanted. We had a little bit of creative, we had a little bit of the ability to make sure that it didn't come across as some jerk.
Yeah.
Right. So speaking of balance, obviously with COVID, the restaurant industry, gaming, they were hit the hardest.
Yes.
So what have you and your teams at your restaurants done to kind of help pivot and still be successful?
Well, I think one thing, at least speaking for myself and our restaurant group, which we call Reno Local Food Group, it's I have a couple of partners who are all really savvy business people also. And we're so used to pivoting and making moves anyways. So for us, when they closed it down, when everything closed down, when this hit, one, we knew to take it serious. We wanted to follow all the county
Right.
guidelines, all the governor's guidelines. We wanted to fall in line and be leaders in the restaurant industry, in the food and beverage industry, right? So we had to lay off 222 people. We had to get them all on benefits. Then we kind of took a pause. Back on March, it was 11th for us. We were a couple days ahead. We paused, looked, and then we started to say, okay, what can we do? So we brought back Liberty with the store. We brought back the online part. We kept people in getting the benefits that they needed. We only brought back the exact amount of people that we needed to make sure we could pay them. We got involved with Feed Our Heroes. We got involved with something called Nevada HIP, which was we were feeding out of work hospitality workers. And then we got involved with, which is still going right now, this has a lot of legs, is Delivering with Dignity. Reno Sparks. That's something that's really, really, really close to my heart. And myself, Lieutenant Governor Kate Marshall. She's an amazing powerhouse woman. And then Michael Bergier from United Way. The three of us are kind of the spearheads of that in our region here. So we've been able to really rehire between ourselves and Blend Catering, about 11 employees. We've been able to keep working full time just to take care of these people who need help. There's no way for them to get food. We make food for them 5 days a week. And we deliver either meals of 3 or meals for 8. And they're able to kind of eat for a few days based on the fact that all the donations that people have given the city of Reno, Washoe County, private donations have really helped this thing really spearhead. And we have funding now to definitely get through the end of the year.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, really cool.
Tell us a little bit more about how we can get involved with Delivering with Dignity. The best way to contribute financially, is that through United Way? Or?
You can go on deliveringwithdignity.org, I believe it is. We have a website. You can go on there and make any small donation at all. Really helps. This is something where the restaurants, one of the cool parts about it is we get paid, not what we normally get paid, we get paid a nice stipend per meal. It's not the $2 meals that I was doing before. It might be, 3 times that. To make a nice meal, that allows us to hire some people back. Yeah. So it's it kind of helps us. We're giving them, we're giving these people restaurant quality food at home so they can really feel good, taken care of. We've gotten a lot of great comments on it. And the cool part is really it's all these other volunteers. They call them the food heroes. They're the people who show up, pick up the bags, and go make it deliveries all around Reno and Sparks. And it's been just amazing to kind of watch that happen. Those are the people who get who feel the best out of it. And we've got some great letters back and forth. So any donation helps, and you can keep it. It's tax deductible. You get recognized for it. There's different levels. There's different little programs that are running out there, and it's really cool to be a part of.
Awesome. So is the food delivery side also in need of volunteers?
Yeah, absolutely. You can and now you can sign up through this Delivery of Dignity, and also United Way will have a link to find a place to sign up. And it feels really good. You can sign up one day. You can sign up and do 1 day a week. You can do it on your lunch break. We try to have it make it really easy for everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah. I know that the Half a Dime team, we would be happy to contribute at least $1,000.
Oh, wow.
If any of our followers are on there today, we'd love to see if anyone else would like to join us in donating too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much. That's
welcome.
Really
Thank
cool.
you.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I hug you.
Air hugs. So last kind of fun question for me anyway. If you could hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger self when you were thinking about all of your future plans?
Okay, this is great. This is a great question. And we were laughing. You said, "Hey, did you get the questions?" I said, "No, what questions?" So I often think I'll go back at a few different levels for me. So, and I'm not just saying some on a mortgage thing here. I remember when I was 25 years old, I moved out here to Lake Tahoe, right? I was making pretty good money for a 25-year-old man, a single man moving out from Boston who had no debt, no nothing, right? So I show up out here. My dad says, "You should go look for houses." I heard of this place, Truckee, and Truckee has this really cool area called Glenshire, and I'm like, "Oh, who wants to have a house? That's so stupid. I would never want to." And I could have afforded a mortgage payment and everything, right? I just was like, I want to keep everything in the back of my Mustang. And I want to drive around and do. I thought it was so cool, and I wish I would have really paid attention to building a financial future back in that time. Whether that was getting financial planning advice from friends, or signing up for the 401k, or putting aside $150 every paycheck, whatever it is. I wish I really paid attention to that, because it's really hard to make up for that later on in your life, right? So, my financial planning future is I play the lotto. So that's or maybe one of these restaurants or TV shows hits, right? So it's the ebb and the flow. So that part there is one thing that I really would I caution young kids to do, and my own kids, to merely pay attention to that and help kind of build that wealth or that stability that you can keep forever. And even during the toughest times, don't go take your 401k out. Don't move from job to job, whatever it may be, and try to figure that out. The second thing I probably say is, pay attention to all the little things along the way. I never really did that. I never stopped to smell the roses. I never paid attention to all the little things that really, I look back now, I'm like, man, I wish I took a picture of that. I wish I had that memory. I wish I journaled about that, because I started journaling a few years ago. And it's a really great way to kind of keep track of what's going on. For me, I journal in bullet points, because I think in bullet points. So, I talk in blah, 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 but I think in bullet points, right? So the idea that to journal some of the stuff that happens right now throughout my life has been really good. I journaled while I was on the road. And then when you have to go back, let's say I want to write a book, or I want to reference something that happened in my past, or maybe talk to my kids about it, I can go back and grab that information. It's right there, because this gets a little foggy as you get a little older, right? We put a little gray on here and it gets a little foggy, at least for me.
His hearing's going too.
What? So for me, that would be the biggest part, I'd probably say. And then just like really kind of really take it in and enjoy it, because before you know it, boom, it's kind of by it, and take stock of those moments. I'm not a big fan of patting myself on the back. I've always kind of been a hard charger and a goer, and most successful entrepreneurs are. So if we all just take a little bit of a deep breath and remember, like, okay, cool, we're good people too, and we can get through this together. And especially with all the things going on right now, if I haven't learned all those lessons up to now, I'd be going crazy. So a little bit crazier than normal. Those are the things. Right? Those are the things for me that I would probably look back and tell myself, a younger version of myself. So,
awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for a great interview so far. A little bit later, we will be coming back. So if you have any questions for Mark, please go ahead and putting them down below.
And remember, everyone that's watching, don't forget the questions. He's here to answer them. Shari's here to answer them. So make sure you start asking the questions, and we're going to catch up on them later.
And don't forget to like and share this live stream so other people can get these cool business tips and see these awesome interviews.
And coming up after the break, we have our female powerhouse, Miss Shari Pheasant.
That's right. She is a true goddess, and we are excited for this next interview. So please stay tuned, and we will be right back after these commercials.
Award-winning business expert, growth specialist, keynote speaker, and master storyteller Shari Pheasant, the queen of horsepower. Decades of experience working with businesses across several industries. Shari Pheasant, emphasizing a people-first culture based on collaborative teamwork and accountability. Shari Pheasant, breaking down the new leadership model. It's time to get naked, get comfortable, and get real. Shari Pheasant, founder of Horsepower Strategies.
Welcome back, everybody, to our live show with Movement Mortgage. Again, I am one of your hosts, John Nichols.
And I am Jen Nichols. Also, I know we keep talking about it, but please make sure that you're putting your questions in the comments so we can make sure that we get them answered for you.
That's right. We will be answering all those questions coming up in just a few moments in the question and answer segment of the show. But this time, we want to announce and welcome our next special guest, the queen of horsepower herself, Miss Shari Pheasant.
And what are your rules? We're all asking. What's your comfort level,
You're
everybody?
welcome to take that off if you are comfortable. Otherwise, you're welcome to leave it on.
So, Shari, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I could tell you that I'm an award-winning business expert, a talent development strategist,
Indeed.
right? A human capitalist for sure. I could tell you I'm a people-first person. I've been trained by Disney, but you know what? What I really want you to know is I'm a mom. I'm a grandma. I'm a woman in business for 39 years as an entrepreneur, right? And I'm 57, by the way, just to date myself. I have been, and when I was 18, I took my first management job, and I love women. I've been married for almost 30 years, and I love the city of Reno. And I like to call myself the queen of horsepower, right?
Tell us a little bit more about that. What does that mean?
So I own, with my husband who runs it, he was the inspiration for it, A Master Mechanic here in town, and that is a local automotive maintenance and repair shop. And I also have horses in my barn, You guys can
Yes, we
relate.
can.
Right? I've known these guys since you were what, 12?
Yeah.
I love Reno. Reno's about relationships for sure. So that's horsepower on hooves, right? Horsepower on wheels, horsepower on hooves. But what I really love doing is working on the horsepower in you and your team. So I have horsepower all over the place.
That's right. So tell us a little bit about what's next for you. I know you've got a big event coming up.
We do. We have a really big event coming up. That's in September. It's a 10-year plan. It's called the Lead Your Legacy Women's Retreat. It is about women in leadership. Women are 50% of the workforce, yet we are only less than 25% of leadership in companies. However, if you look at the stats, when women, that's the diversity, are a part of the leadership with men, companies thrive more. They perform better. Employees are more engaged. So I am all about it. Women don't ask. We do for everyone else, and we usually serve from a half full cup. So I'm about teaching women to have a full cup that overflows, so they have everything to give, and that they are still full themselves.
I've been enrolled in the class, I think, since spring, and I am super excited for the opportunity to sit down with you and your team. I can't wait. Everyone's even asking, hey, are you available this week? And I'm like, nope, I have a women's conference I'm going to, so I can't wait until the end of the month next month.
Well, I'm excited. You know, we all get naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not really, guys. Don't
Not
forget.
really.
That's what we've heard,
All right,
yeah.
hold on. It's not what you think. So naked, think about being naked in front of a mirror, right? You see things you like, things you don't like, things you think you can change, right? Things you know you can't change.
Yeah.
And you just have to learn to be real. And most of us, let's be real, don't look in the mirror very often. And yet what leadership is now is about looking in the mirror. It's about being vulnerable. It's about being transparent. So what we teach women is to lead from their feminine side. Women have had male role models for many years. Look, I'm in the automotive industry. I've followed a lot of guys. They tend to tell me I have great Zeus energy, right? It might be that powerhouse thing. And yet what I know is when I lead from my feminine, authentic self, that I truly gain better relationships, I communicate with more clarity, and I get people to work together better because we come from a place inside of why versus because, right? So we are coming from our inner authentic selves.
Tell us a little bit too. So obviously working with women is a passion of yours and helping them to develop as well. But I know that you work with men too. So tell us a little bit about other areas that you specialize in business development and coaching. Because I know you work with a lot of actually our mutual friends.
Indeed, I'm working with a landscaping company now, a young man who's 28 years old, and he has built the company to $3.5 million in less than 4 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So incredible. He wants to hit 10 million. Yet it is an industry, the trades, right, tend to be very traditionalist. So they know what works, they've done it before. They're not very receptive to new ideas. And look, even leadership, how you lead your people, how you brand and market your company, it's different. It's had a paradigm shift in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I'd say 5 to 7 has been really big. So I'm working with him to teach him how to lead his team. One of the biggest complaints I hear is I can't get them to do what I need them to do, right? Or I have to repeat myself 7 times. I feel like I babysit. So what I teach is we tend to have expectations that other people are just like us. It's just who we are.
Yep.
And what we need to learn to do is say, how are you different from me? Because when you have different personalities, different traits, different why I do what I do at the table, you get this perspective of a whole picture that's really incredible.
Yep.
So yes, I work with men in teams. I've worked with some high-performing local teams. I can flip your conversation in a day and relationships.
And you've mentioned a few of them, but what are some of your favorite techniques that you use on the daily in your business and in your coaching?
So getting naked's one. No, so that's about being transparent and real. I have a scientific method that I use that allows us to get through what I like to call the BS, the fluff, what you want me to think, right? And so I like to get to the reality of it, and that means no filter. So I will put you through about an hour of what I call my leadership naked DNA. We find out what's on board for you, and we validate that through a certain process, and then we start talking about your pain points. And I dig in. I tell everybody, look, I'm a catalyst of change. It's going to be uncomfortable. if you're not looking for that, I'm not for you.
Change can be uncomfortable for sure.
And growth.
Definitely.
My sister mentioned she's been excited for the Women's Legacy Retreat coming up. Tell us a little bit more about that, because I know that she's been excited for quite some time. You had your inaugural one last year. You've been working nonstop year-round to get this one off the ground, but you've also had to make some big shifts. So tell us about those shifts and tell us about the retreat.
I think we're on our 4th shift.
Yeah.
Pivot. Pivot's my middle name. Remember, I'm good. I think it's just God testing me, like, really? Show me, girl. Right? So we were live. We were on the beach. We're in Tahoe. And yeah, COVID hit. Everything. We've all, right? And our lives changed. And so we were waiting because I'm, perseveringly positive for sure. And I thought we would be able to go live at some way. And California shut down. And so we pivoted to kind of partial live, partial virtual. And then it came out that the governor said that small groups are the ones causing most of the ongoing virus spread. And so as a leader, I felt like it was really responsible of me to make some choices. So as we're shifting to a different place and going with private chefs and doing different things, we finally get to the point where now we are all virtual. We are announcing formally, actually today, right after this show, in our Wise Women Wednesdays that we do on Facebook, that we are all virtual. We've kind of made a pre-announcement launch of that. And we have some real special pricing. So I have a small group of women that we've got a special experience for them that they're going to be doing, but everyone's virtual.
And so aside from being uncomfortable a little bit, what can we expect to learn? Like me as an attendee, what are some of the things I'm going to go through?
Are you asking me like what's in it for me?
I mean, yeah, basically.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Besides being uncomfortable, clearly.
Well, and I think if we'd all learn to address the what's in it for me, right?
Absolutely.
We would
It's my
have
sister's
better,
favorite question.
just saying, right? And so
Realize.
I want you to learn to understand yourself first. I think when relationships don't go well, when businesses don't go well, we tend to look at others. And reality is it starts with us, right? 100%.
Fair, yeah.
When someone else throws things at you, I always look back like, that's your stuff. How can I help you with that, right? Yet most people will want to own that. Well, how come they did that to me, or what's going on? And if you just learn to let go of that and then look at yourself, then you can remove friction in relationships and be heard with more clarity. You can learn to deal with people that really suck the life force out of you, right? Have you ever had that person that you're just like, I can't even walk in that room right now with them. And so if I can teach you how, from your understanding of you and your ability to identify some things about them, like if they're a high doer driver, if their compliance is above normal, right? How you can deal with giving them the information and going at the pace they need to make a decision. Have you ever had that person like, I'm not really sure, I don't really know. Paralysis by analysis?
Yes.
I'm sure you did 100% doer driver. I got you, I get it, me too, right? Or that person that's like the squirrel. You can't keep them from being involved in 13 other things. Well, what if I could teach you how to help them manage themselves? No more babysitting, right? You understand, we can point out potential time wasters that you may be making,
Perfect,
get more efficiency on a team, and understand your differences. Then imagine the superior performance you're gonna get out of yourself and your team. So we do that specifically with women because I know that women don't ask, and women in leadership is important to a company. And then I wanna help you get what you want, desire, and deserve.
Sounds
Better
like
watch
you'll be
out.
learning a lot.
To kick your butt in the
So-
future.
What are the dates of the event?
It is September 25th and 26th. Our virtual platform right now will only handle 100 women. We're putting it out publicly 50 because we know we're going to go above that, but we are going to have to cap it at 100 women. And it's going to be amazing. We've got workbooks that they're going to have. We have special tours of Tahoe that nobody's ever seen. So we have someone that's lived in Tahoe for years that's going to take you places that normal people don't get to go.
That's so cool.
Right? Because part of it is learning in the environment that fills you.
Yeah.
Right? That puts you in that position to thrive. You want the endorphins going. This is a scientific biochemical thing, right? We're talking social psychology here as well. So we dig pretty deep. So we want you in that environment, and we want everyone virtually to feel like they're live with us.
Awesome. I think we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We are Ready to wrap up our time with Just Shari here. Again, if you have questions, please make sure that you are adding them to the comments in whatever medium you're watching this in.
And we also want to sincerely thank all of our viewers who are currently logged in either on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Thank you guys so much for your support.
That's right. And so coming up right after the break, we have our monthly roundtable where we'll be answering the questions that you've been posting.
And that's right, we're going to be welcoming back Mr. Rockstar of all rock stars, Mark Essie. So we'll see you soon.
Awesome. So stay tuned. We will be right back here after these short commercials.
Well, this is not going to be another one of those boring online meetings. This is going to be the online event of the year that you won't want to miss. It's the 2020 Virtual Women's Lead Your Legacy Retreat, led by Shari Pheasant.
Ladies, it's virtual, but we're here for you. We're coming at you. We're going to have some fun with you, and you get access to all of the trainings for 60 more days after the retreat. So instead of going home and a week later going, what did they say? What was I motivated by? You get to play it again.
Shari is an award-winning business expert. She has experience with working with businesses from all different industries.
It's a holistic way of looking at business. We've got business women coming that are going to talk about how to brand yourself from the inside out. We're going to talk about leadership skills, communication. That's 90% of the breakdown on teams. And so professionally, women are 50% of the workforce. We're less than 22% of the C-suite and leadership. But if you look at research, right, it shows that women in companies, when they're in leadership, the companies do better. So I think it's our time, Connie.
The importance of leading with influence, based in your naked truth, and why this is the future of business today.
Innovation brings creativity, which then pushes us into the future. Women, it has never been a greater time for us to decide we want it all. The new landscape of the culture of work is now feminine based. It's relationship based. All right. It's about connecting and understanding. So women are prime to break through where that broken rung is and climb to the top of the ladder. It's our time.
Please join us for the 2020 Women's Lead Your Legacy Virtual Retreat, September 25th and 26th, led by Shari Pheasant, founder of Horsepower Strategies.
Welcome back, everyone who's out there watching today, and thank you again for tuning in.
And if you're only joining us right now, again, my name is John Nichols. I'm one of the hosts today, and this is my sister Jennifer.
Lovely sister.
My lovely sister. And you're watching our monthly show with Movement Mortgage Live.
It's been a great show so far, so we are going to move into questions shortly.
That's right. We want to welcome both of today's guests back, and a special thank you as well for joining us once more. So we have some questions.
We will get cracking. So, Mark.
Yes.
We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier in the segment, but we are having a viewer ask, how have you pivoted your restaurants? So are you open? Which ones are closed? Hours of operation?
Yeah, so we have, great question. So we pivoted in the restaurants based on kind of what we've seen others do, and also follow the lead of what the government regulations are. So 6 foot, 50% capacity. We've lessened some of the hours. We just recently at Liberty stopped serving lunch 4 days a week because there's really no lunch crowd down there. Chez Louis is not reopened yet because the museum is really not fully open yet, so we're kind of waiting on that. We've seen business spike in some of our places, like Overland right now is right at almost at budget, and Liberty's operating about 30% down, and most of the restaurants about 30% down. But we look at it and say, just because we have 50% capacity doesn't mean we need to be 50% revenue. So we're trying to take a positive approach to it, and we're in the business of hospitality. We've had to retrain gloves and hands and masks and everything else. So we've been following all those rules and trying to just kind of make it the best that we possibly can.
That's awesome. And a little bit of a personal experience for our viewers. I'm not typically one that likes any heat with my food, but the Bee Sting pizza at Liberty is to die for. Have you had it? It's amazing. You guys got to get down there and check it out.
Yeah.
And then another question for you is, we have someone asking, how can they learn more about Diddy?
DID, Delivering with Dignity. If you go to the website, deliveringwithdignity.org, Delivering with Dignity, RenoSparks.org, you'll be able to find all the information there. You'll be able to see all the different links, all the different things talking about how you can get involved, what you can do, where we've raised our money, how you can donate, how you can come and help with whether funds or also joining in to be a food hero. Yeah.
Another question actually for each of you, so Shari, we'll start with you, is whether or not either of you would consider writing a book about your experiences over the years.
Oh, I've got 12 of them in my head right now. I'm working on taking the time and blocking my time more effectively. What's come for this shift in life for me is I realize I don't have to be that darn busy, and that in order to get where I need to go, because I'm serving others as well. I've been serving all of my clients for their pivots that they've made over the last 6 months, and pivoting as well on my own. So I'm really going to focus on my online program and doing those things.
So is that a maybe?
Oh, I have 12 in my head.
Oh.
Yes, it's a maybe.
So
No,
maybe
it's
a talk
I need to do
podcast.
that. Yes, I need a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Right? I need a
Yeah.
a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
I need a ghostwriter. I'm good at telling my story. I even have like that Dragon Dictate. Do you have that? That Dragon Dictate program?
No.
Where you talk to your computer
Okay.
and it hears you. The only problem is it types forever.
Right.
There's no, you have to say new line,
Yeah.
space, paragraph. And so I'm kind of learning that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just barely speak English, so my computer doesn't even understand me. So, yes, I'm absolutely planning on writing cookbooks, memoirs. God knows what else comes up. Self-help books, you name it. I mean, I've read so many of them. The journal, bring it all to life. But it does take time, and it does take a retro. I really want to be in a space to try to do that. Recipe books are a dime a dozen out there right now, and we have some really great recipes that I've been doing for 20 years. That'd be really great to share. I'm not a big, huge fan of I'm more like cooking from the heart. So I'd want something. My book would want to be a little bit different about cooking with the seasons and how you feel, and what the family's looking for, and all that kind of fun stuff. So you never know if the time happens a day. I'd gladly do that.
I did write a book, 25 Car Care Tips for Women. It's an international bestseller
That's
in
right.
2017. I forgot about that from the automotive industry.
Yeah.
I actually traveled the country and did the whole news morning show tour and
Nice.
stuff. So it's a great book for women for automotive, yes.
Nice.
So I
need
have
that.
one.
YouTube is my friend right now.
So our stepdad also is from Boston. and
Okay.
I would imagine that if he used that dragon thing you were talking about, dark would be changed to Doc.
Doc,
An awful
yeah.
lot.
Mark, forget about it. It's crazy.
So, Shari, we have a couple of viewers asking, where can they sign up for the conference?
So if you Google Lead Your Legacy, Tahoe, that's us. We are at virtual.leadyourlegacy.com. virtual.leadyourlegacytahoe.com. If you go to Facebook and put in Lead Your Legacy Women, you'll find us.
Perfect. And so we have a couple of questions along the same lines. The first one is, what's a big piece of advice that you would give women coming into leadership roles now?
Gosh, so the first thing that pops from my heart into my head is stop acting like a guy. The B word, just saying. It doesn't work. Doesn't I can say that you no. Right. We have to understand feminine leadership, and that comes from a vulnerable, transparent place. Now, Mark, you've been through a lot. It's hard to be a vulnerable, transparent leader because the minute you mess up, they eat you alive like hyenas.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
And so when I go in and work with teams, one of my first things is, okay, so he's making some mistakes or she's making some mistakes. You need to back off. Here's what we need to understand about each other. If you want your leader to be vulnerable and transparent, then that's what you need to do. So I'm going to tell you to be who you are, lead authentically and femininely, and be brave, courageous, and strong.
So that's amazing. And so on that, we have a viewer asking, what advice would you give a 17-year-old girl that's thinking about becoming an entrepreneur?
Dig in, girl. I raise millennials. Millennials, when you say millennial, I speak from a stage and you can hear the whole audience go, "Ugh." And it's like, no, wait. How many have kids between the ages of 25 and 34, right? Raise your hand. Oh, wait, look, my hand's up too. And we might not have known what the value system that we were teaching them was going to look like results-wise. But it was to be heard, to stand your ground, to value your opinion, to not just follow leaders that aren't earning it, right? So for a 17-year-old, I want to say you've got this, that there has never been a time when we are more receptive to new ideas, where we are changing and listening to those that we've never listened to before. Yeah. And so I say, rise up and own it.
I think that's very true. Our mom finally listens to us on how to set up a Zoom call now. So.
That's true.
But I think that's actually about all the time we have today. We really wanted to just thank Mark, Shari, very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Congratulations to both of you on all your successes, and thank you so much for taking the time to really share with our guests what you guys are up to and awesome tips that they can help in their businesses.
We love
so-
the conversation,
Yeah,
right?
thank you.
Love
Thanks
the
for having us.
conversation. Thank you.
Really
Thank
cool.
you. Awesome. Well, again, I'm John Nichols with Movement Mortgage.
And I'm Jennifer Nichols.
And join us here the third Wednesday of every month at 2 p.m. for Movement Mortgage Live. We will see you next month.
Bye, guys.